Hey guys, what's going on? It's Sandsock's back for another Throwback Thursday, and this time we're going back to Sega Genesis. The game is Skitchin.
Skitchin!
Introduction. It was 1994, and Electronic Arts wasn't the household sports game publishing monster you are likely familiar with today. Certainly, EA had its foot in the door with sports during the 16-bit consoles, and with some great sports games at that. They also published their fair share of non-sports games like B.O.B., Desert Strike, and Skitchin. The word Skitchin comes from two words, skating and hitching. The act of Skitchin is grabbing onto the back of moving cars and riding with them. Of course, this is highly illegal, which makes it a fun focus for today's video. The story. Well, your job is to rollerblade in traffic, grab onto cars for more speed, hit ramps to perform more tricks, and beat the crap out of any other skater who dares get in your way. With an outline like that, there isn't room to put much of a story. Sure, they could have come up with a reason why you're skitching. Oh no, your little brother Jimmy broke his leg and your family doesn't have insurance to cover the cost. You better enter this skitching contest and win the big prize to afford his medical bills. I jest, but they could have went that route, but thankfully didn't. It's nice enough that your purpose is being a person who loves to skitch and you enter contests with those of your ilk to win cash for your own pleasure. So there really isn't a story, but they did add some elements like each city having its own representative, being on a talk show, so it's kinda cool. I can't give the game credit for having a story since there really isn't one, but I can give them credit for at least not shoving some BS down our throats. Gameplay. The gameplay is usually compared to Road Rash, and fairly so. The game starts you off in Vancouver on a 2-lane highway. You pump your feet and off you go, a functional member of society just rollerblading down the most littered highway in British Columbia. As cars come by, you grab onto them in hopes to pull the best slingshots since Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby. Certainly, your opponents are going to attempt to ride the back of the cars you've already claimed, so you have to hash it out like responsible adults by beating the crap out of each other using any of the trash the locals have left on the highway for you, such as lead pipes, chains, crowbars, and more. In order to qualify for the next race, you need to place in the top 5, so you won't be able to just hitch a ride on the back of the first Oldsmobile that comes by and ride off into the sunset. There are incentives during each race. You earn money for skitching each vehicle, including a boost for doing so on the back of a cop car. You also earn money for performing tricks using ramps, dirt piles, and other road obstacles to launch yourself into the air. The higher you place will also yield you a better cash prize. All of these things are needed since your equipment will suffer durability loss during each match and you will need to upgrade or replace it. Before each race, you get a chance to shop out of the back of a very trustworthy man's Astrovan. Clearly, this guy has access to black market gear you won't find in your local Walmart. Unfortunately, it's a pretty rinse and repeat process as you work your way through the cities of Canada and the United States, but nevertheless, it's still quite enjoyable. Graphics. The game set out to capture the early 90s, and for better or worse, it accomplished the task. Bright colors in places that would make you cringe today. Nothing stands out quite like taking the family on a vacation in the old fuchsia station wagon. There's graffiti, broken brick walls, and barbed wire all over the game menus. Not to mention the stellar gentleman we talked about earlier selling gear while sporting a yellow skeleton shirt, round sunglasses, and a backwards baseball cap. There's even a legitimate CD Walkman graphic where you can sample the tracks and choose the song of your liking for the upcoming race. The animations in the game are pretty decent, but occasionally seem to match the controls where something just seems slightly out of place. All in all, nothing is going to wow you about the graphics in this game, but as usual in its era, they are good enough to not take away from the gameplay. Sound and music. I'm going to be honest here. It is unlikely you will ever see me cover a game where the music and sound are bad in my opinion. I don't know what it is, but the music and sounds of a game honestly mean more to me than the graphics. I feel like I rate the sound and music of Skitchin higher than most would, but let's look at it objectively. This game came out in 1994 on a 16-bit console. The music perfectly captures the game. While featuring rock-centered tracks, it is exactly what you would want from a game that's purpose was to rollerblade the streets of North America while beating the hell out of your race opponents. The sound effects are well done also. Nothing beats the satisfying sound of you frying the guy next to you on the bumper of a car with a taser. Also, the ability to choose which track you want to hear for the course you're about to play was a freedom not many games offer. I wouldn't go as far as saying the music is something you should download and listen to in the car, but when it comes to capturing the game's purpose at the audio level, Skitchin did a pretty good job. For an added bonus, I came across the channel with a good cover on their music, and you can check it out on the info card on your screen right now. Personal experience. I first found out about this game when I played it with a childhood friend who had it. Since I'd covered games from the Super Nintendo, PlayStation, and the original Nintendo in my previous episodes, I specifically wanted to pick a Genesis game for this episode. I was quickly reminded how many great games the console had, which would normally make picking one a difficult task, but Skitchin was easy to choose. I recall nothing but having fun with the game anytime I ever played it, and I thought it would be just as fun to cover it today. I can't say this is a game you should go play if you never have played it before. I'm sure it suffers pretty bad from an aging aspect, so would require some nostalgia in order to appreciate it. But for those of us who did play it when the Genesis was a current-gen console, we're left with fond memories of bumper riding brawls on inline skates. Well, that's it for the video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving the video a like. If you have thoughts on this game or on the series, please leave them in the comments below. Also, subscribe and turn on alert notifications so you know whenever we go live or upload new content. Until next time, I'm Sandsocks.